Hey everybody, welcome to Italian update number 1. It's finally here. It's been about 8 months in the making. I know I promised myself and everyone else that I'd be making videos about every month, showing my updates through my Italian journey. I wanted the goal to be by June of this year to be relatively fluent, as everyone has their own definition. Sorry, my mic just fell. What the heck? Okay. As everyone has their own definition. And I just wanted to kind of go over what I've actually done and what my plans are for this year. I'm going to make an update every month, promise you, from now until the end of this year, 2022, and see where I get. I have a couple of goals that I've listed out. But first, I wanted to start this video by kind of going over what my history into Italian's been. I've done pretty much some Anki. I've done active listening, not a lot, but I've been tracking almost everything I've done here. And speaking with a little bit of natives here and there, not too much, maybe twice a month, maybe 15 minutes each time, nothing too crazy. And it's been kind of a gradual momentum building process to get into the Italian journey. I love the language. I adore the language. It just hasn't been as easy for me to kind of get the routine going. So this is basically, again, I think I mentioned this, like a confession to myself in the future. Hey, I messed up. I didn't really start Italian whenever I needed to, whenever I wanted to. But you know what? Now I've got the free time. Now I have the motivation, and I'm building the discipline to kind of keep this going. I've learned Spanish. I know the language. And having that confidence in knowing that I can learn a language is going to help me with this language. So without further ado, I'm going to go over a little bit of what I've done. So as you see, I've got this tracker open. This tracker is basically what I've done over the last year and a half. I think I started this back in June of last year, I believe. Let me see. I'm sorry. I should have known. Yes, June of last year, not year and a half. This is basically what I've done. I've only done 20 hours of active listening and 2 hours of passive listening, which isn't a whole lot. My goal is 750 hours of passive listening. This goal was basically taken off of, I believe, a channel called Dreaming Spanish. He put out a chart which kind of shows you what to expect at each stage of learning, and how many hours of learning, especially in a Romance language. And basically he said, for your first language, if you learn your first language, it should take you about 1,500 hours to get very, very good in the language, especially listening, 1,500 hours of input. He said if you do that on one language, for example, Spanish, like I have, and then move on to your second language that's very closely related, expect that time to be cut in half. So that's where this goal of 750 hours of active listening has come from. And so far, I'm about 3% of the way there. Some of these hours aren't exactly fully accounted for us. I would say that I've spoken to natives, like I mentioned before, here and there. I just didn't add it to the tracker just because it's kind of hard to account for all of those hours. I would, if I had to guess, because I haven't spoken much with natives on like Hello Talk or anything like that, I would have to guess I've done maybe 5 additional hours. So this total should be around 27 hours, right? Still not a lot, still about 3% of the way there to 750 hours. So current rate of study is 7 minutes average a day since the beginning of January of this year. So I know not a whole lot. I'm not going to get there. It says remaining days at 5,604, which, yeah, no, it's definitely going to go up. So don't worry, you're not going to have to wait until 2037 for me to make updates. Oh, I'm finally fluent in Italian. No, not going to happen. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to show you my Anki stats in one moment, and we'll kind of go over what I've been doing on Anki, and then I'll speak more about my goals and all that. All right, guys, so I wanted to go ahead and show you what I've been doing in Anki for the past about 2 years. I started the Italian Premade Deck back in 2022. It looks like back in March. Mostly started in April, went from April to about the end of the year, very sparsely. I counted 95 days back in 2022. So about a fourth of the year spent not very consistently going over the most common, easiest sentences in Italian. I'll show you an example of how it looks like in a minute. The next year, not so much. Again, 21 days here. So a total of about 116 days, because in 2022, didn't study any of this at all in terms of the Premade Deck. So, not a whole lot. I'll show you an example sentence of what's going on.
C'è qualcuno sulla porta.
There's someone at the door. Okay. And,
C'è qualcuno sulla porta.
oh, I guess it. There's a lot of holy crap. There's a lot of duplicates here. So as you see, the stats on this, I'll go ahead and pull those up. Haven't been a lot. I believe it was 1,000 cards over the last 2 years here. So mature 981 cards, suspended. These are, I believe, cards that were duplicates. So yeah, about 1,000 cards. Should be around 1,000 new words or so. A lot of it was, again, duplicates and all that. So at max, 1,000 new words, maybe less actually, because obviously there's duplicates and continuity between words and between sentences, right? A lot of the most common words and sentences pop up. So yeah, I got the base in, and that really did kind of help. Now the role of Spanish here is hard to underestimate. Yes, because, well, let's just say that Spanish has been a huge help in learning Italian. A lot of these mature cards were cards that I could pretty much understand from the get-go, like 90% of them, 95% of them from the get-go because of Spanish. So it's not like I was learning lots of new words. A lot of it was vocabulary that I knew from Spanish already. So having that pulled up, going through, here we go. Here's the percentage, 99%. Mature, learning 92%. So yeah, Spanish was a huge help. I can't freaking, I guess, overestimate it, right? Messing up the words. Oh god. Anyways, so yeah, that's been a huge help, Spanish, in actually even getting into the listening sections of everything. So over the 22 hours of active listening that I've done, or I'm sorry, not active, of listening, it's been very easy to understand what's been going on, at least the gist of things, with barely any listening done. And I really owe that a lot to Spanish itself. Obviously, I can't say that I'm understanding most of it. I'm understanding depending on the content. So intermediate content on Spanish, like channels like Podcast Italiano and Italiano Automatico, and have been very easy to understand. The only thing I'm missing is vocabulary. It's not like they're speaking so fast that I can't make out the differences between words. There's no beginner stage. If you start from Spanish and move into Italian, there's almost no beginner stage. You can jump right in and get to the point where you're understanding things very, very quickly. You just need to learn vocab. So that's going to be my focus. I'm going to show you in the next section about what I've been doing to kind of acquire vocabulary, what my plan is, and where I'm going to go from there. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I just wanted to talk to you about a little bit of where I'm at right now, what's going on, what's my current level, and kind of the plans for the future here. So starting with where I'm at, I'd say I'm somewhere between an A1 and A2 right now. A lot of what I understand is of the intermediate kind of content that I've been listening to, and even in the intermediate kind of content, it's been about 60 to 80% of my level of comprehension on what's going on. It really depends on what the video topic's about. If there's lots of new vocabulary, I'd say, again, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of what's easy to understand is the rhythm of Italian. The grammar is not too bad. It's very similar to Spanish, so it's like you can kind of intuitively understand what they're talking about. What's missing are the fundamental building blocks of a language, vocabulary. So I definitely think vocabulary is the most important thing. So with that in mind, with kind of the Spanish background that I've had, and what I'm lacking in now in this point of the language learning journey, which is still relatively early, A1 to A2, I've decided to focus on reading mostly, and reading and kind of comprehending and sentence mining and saving important words that are used in daily conversation and things I could just kind of talk to natives with, you know what I mean? So even like early output is going to be part of the plan here. I'll try and use what I can use. Output isn't the focus right now. A lot of it is acquiring vocabulary. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go over a little bit of what I've had here. So the Italian plan so far, or at this point in time, is to sentence mine 10 sentences a day. A lot of it's going to come from YouTube videos that have transcriptions. For example, there's a YouTube channel called Podcast Italiano, which I will pull up right now, actually, just to kind of get this going. Actually, here's one that I also use. Impara Italiano con Italiano Automatico. So a lot of these videos...
Buongiorno carissimo, carissima. Oggi voglio...
They'll have the subtitles here, so in the video itself. But there's also a cool and neat function that a lot of YouTube videos have been doing, and it's a transcript function here. I don't know if anyone's seen this, known about this, but it'll pull up a transcript. I'm not sure if this is auto-generated by YouTube itself or this is made by the video creator. My computer is going very, very slow right now, unfortunately. But it'll have a like this, a line-by-line time-stamped subtitles of what's going on. So you'll see, buongiorno carissimo, carissima, oggi voglio parlarti della città del Vaticano, which kind of matches what's going on the screen right now. O semplicemente del Vaticano una città. So I believe this is auto-generated because this doesn't seem as precise as what's going on in the video. Let's just go ahead and check it out real quick.
Parlarti della città del Vaticano o semplicemente
on.
del Vaticano.
Oh my god.
Una città sta...
Yeah, che si trova tra... Oh, okay, well, it's very, very similar here. Okay, anyways, that's lagging like a madman, so I'm going to close that and move on to what's going on in Link. Right now, if anyone knows Steve Kaufman, he's written a book on his travels, his journey through... his language learning, you know, what he did in France, and you know when he moved to Japan, when he moved to China and everything. So I'm currently reading through that in Link right now, as you saw how that looked. You can't see this. Let me go ahead and move this really quick. I'm sorry. Oh, man. I'm so bad at this. Okay, maybe you can see this here. My current word count in Link is 3,348 words. So through that, you can kind of guess about what's my level is right now. It's really not that much. It's again intermediate. The level of comprehension isn't that high, and you know it's been not too much of a struggle getting through things. I'm going to try and read as much as possible. So this is going to be the main focus again of the starting of this journey. The next focus is going to be a journal entry kind of task. So every day I'm going to start writing a journal entry just purely in English. And then I'm going to use a cool program that I found, which some of you all have seen. It's Reverso Context, which all it does is, so for example, I'm going to copy it and paste this and place it in here. It's like an AI software. And it translates automatically with a click of 2 buttons. So it says piano italiano, frase mia, 10 frasi al giorno. So yeah, it completely translates everything that you need into a very kind of very precise translation. Sometimes I've noticed it's a little bit off, but most of the translations I've used have been great. And there's also a really cool function that you do here, which if you highlight a word, you will see translations for giorno down here, and it gives you even more sentences. Ci rimandate giorno in giorno, and you even have that. So from there, I can go ahead and just copy and paste these new sentences into Anki and have a very relevant set of words that I can look at every day and place into Anki, and then kind of get that saved into the SRS and then therefore download it into memory, then I can use it whenever I want. So that's a really, really cool tool that I found that helps me get the most relevant stuff. In Spanish I didn't do that, and I know I lost a lot of time not sentence mining. I thought it was a bit boring. I thought it wasn't too relevant, and I thought input just the way to go. Just sit there and just listen, brute force listening, which, don't get me wrong, isn't a bad thing. But I think it could be sped up a lot more with Anki and, getting output early and all that. And I've kind of talked about that in the past in my the mistakes I made in Spanish video, and I'm trying to fix those and kind of hone in the process a lot better into this language and see where I get. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to close Reverso Contexto and talk about, so I'm going to try and hit 2 link lessons of, let's say, book every day, right? So right now I'm reading The Linguist by Kaufman. Maybe I'll download something from not like Dostoevsky, even though I actually have some, but a novel, that's probably read in middle school or something by kids of that lexile level, and see what goes on. I'm not too sure about what's going on. I don't want to plan too many books in the future, otherwise I'll be like, oh no, this isn't perfect, this isn't perfect. Mostly I'm just going to go about what interests me and what's not too difficult. Obviously if something's too difficult, then it's kind of you're wasting time, but it's just going to be a process. So that's the plan for now. And outside of that, 30 minutes of listening daily, like the tracker I showed you guys beginning. Active listening, mostly active listening to whatever, not looking at subtitles, not trying to sentence mine from there, not trying to do any of that, just pure listening, just trying to understand what's going on, what's what is the video talking about, is it interesting, is it relevant, things like that. That's what I'm focused on. And I found several channels, especially on literature and stuff, that I can sort of get the gist of what they're talking about. And it's been pretty fun and pretty interesting just watching those videos and trying to get to that, I don't know, that level of understanding where you're enjoying the content, right? Because that's one thing I didn't focus on too much in Spanish. I just thought, okay, I can kind of understand this. Let's just go ahead and watch it, blah, 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 blah. And again, it really helped my Spanish listening, but I don't think it was as efficient as it could have been. So with that being said, that's the current Italian plan. On the next slide, I'm just going to talk about what my goals are, what I'm going to finish up with, and blah, blah, blah. I know this video is super long already, and my editing skills are not too great, but it's okay. I will see you soon. Alright guys, so for the last section of this video, I just wanted to go over future plans and what I'll be tracking, and basically what do I want to accomplish by the end of this year? What am I expecting? So I pulled up this cool website that I found a long time ago, maybe 5 years ago, before I even wanted to get in, before I started Spanish, on the levels of languages that you can obtain, what you could do at each level, blah blah blah. And it's not super accurate, but it's a really good representation of what I think I want to, what you can expect at each level. So if you go over the table over here, you go all the way from A0 to A1 to A2. So I got my A1, A2 designation, not with a test, but mainly just trying to see where I'm at right now. So phrasebook speaker, uses a few templates to create sentences, understands responses if he, she was expecting, blah, blah, blah. I'm a little bit higher than that. I would say that I could probably speak maybe a 4-year-old in Italian, I don't know, something like that, right? I can understand a lot, like I mentioned, especially in daily conversation. It's not too hard to understand, especially if a person's speaking relatively slow. If they're speaking normal speed, that's when I can run into trouble, but it's not too hard. And I could speak due to my knowledge of Spanish, trying to get, with the Spanish grammar, using maybe even a Spanish, loan words here and there, I can get my point across pretty easy. I can definitely create original sentences, but obviously I don't know the entire grammar. I can't say whatever I want. And I can't express a whole lot, but I can express what I need to express, especially with daily conversation. So somewhere between A1 and A2. That being said, by the end of this year, by 12/31/2022. I'm talking to you, future Shane. You're gonna be fluent, but with errors and omissions. Can hold real conversations. Can listen to a full video in Italian for an hour without having too much trouble. Without really having to look up anything, without having to stop the video, replay the video, or replay a certain section to say, oh, what did I miss? What I miss here and there, blah blah blah. Just kind of flow with the video, flow with the language. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you're going to learn philosophy in Italian. You're going to be reading, or you're going to be reading Dante, which I actually started a little bit. I bought a little, the Inferno, but it's got the old Italian and an English translation just for fun. I think it would be great. So things like that, you know, read books. I do want to read 10 books by the end of this year in Italian, whether it be something small, or you know, a full novel or something like that. 10 books, you know, just get the reading into myself, you know, just get those words, get everything in there, you know, and read for enjoyment too, not especially just for learning or anything like that, but actually get the vocab, get ideas, get enjoyment from reading in Italian, just, you know, doing everything I want to do in English in Italian. So that's the current goal, a B2 fluent-ish level, which I would say I'm probably at right now actually in Spanish. So somewhere comparable. I know it's obviously it's very there's a whole lot of differences in between how I did the Spanish and how I'm going to be doing Italian, and obviously I'm not going to be putting as much time as I did in Spanish with Italian. With that being said, I don't expect to be as good in Italian as I am in Spanish, but I do want to get very close, which I don't know if that says a whole lot about my Spanish or if that's going to say a whole lot about my Italian. We'll see. That's yet to, be seen. Outside of that, I don't have too many other goals with Italian. I just want to be able to use the language with a certain level of facility that, most people, I guess, even living in the country wouldn't have. It's not like it's super high. I'm sorry, most travelers or people that just moved there, you know, for a couple months, blah blah blah. I guess if that makes sense, I don't know. Not native speakers, basically, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just a facility with the language that allows me to do what I want to do without too much difficulty. So I think B2's of the perfect example of that level. And outside of that, yet to be seen. Obviously, Spanish and Italian are two languages that I adore, I love, and will continue to just grow in the future. But for now, that's my goal for Italian. Next year, moving on to Portuguese, probably. We'll see what happens. And, you know, that's it. That's the end of the video. I know this video is probably like freaking 20 minutes long. I've been rambling. I don't expect anyone to actually get through this video, even on freaking 2x speed, blah, 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 whatever. All good. The next videos will be very short. I'll just go over, you know, a template like, okay, this is what I did. This is the books. These are the books that I read. This is the starting word count in Link. I'm going to be using Link as a good proxy of progress, and then how many hours I've listened to, and how many cards I've created in Anki, things like that. And yeah, with that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to this point, I appreciate you if you're actually following me. I'm going to try and actually learn to edit better, learn to get some cool video edits in, maybe even get a better camera. I do want to invest more and more into the channel. I want to invest more and more into myself in general. So yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be fun, you know, just kind of trying to get this language learning down, you know, and documented, and maybe it's even like helpful and useful to people. That's always the plan. Again, so with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna sign off with a ciao for now. Bye.